Oh, say, can you see?
Oh, dear.
Doesn't that get you in the mood, Sarah? No, that was shocking. That was shocking, but that is the theme of the video today, because we all know today was the day the roster has been dropped, Sarah. It is dropped. It is official. There's no questions. There's no there's questions, but there's no doubt about it. It has been officially decided. So we're going to go over the roster. That's the first thing we're going to do. Then we're going to talk about it. Here we go. Goalkeepers, AD and Alyssa. Okay, defenders, Abby, Crystal, Becky, Kelly, Tierna, and Sonnet.
Midfielders, Julie, Lindsay, Rose, Sam Mewis, and Kristie. Forwards, Alex Morgan, Carli Lloyd, Megan Rapinoe, Kristen Press, Tobin Heath. And you've got the alternates, Jane Campbell, Casey Kruger, Katerina Macario, and Lynn Williams.
Okay, so first of all, it dropped at 9 Eastern, and that's pretty early for the West Coast. So people who wanted to find out right away, it was like 6 a.m. for the West Coast.
Dear.
So,
yeah, I watched it on GMA.
Did you
Good
watch
Morning
it on
America.
Yeah, Sarah watched it.
And then Robin Roberts interviewed Alex Morgan.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that. But it's exciting. You know, we've talked about it over and over. Only 18 spots. That's the first thing that just kind of is like a lot of good players aren't going to make it. First of all, the first thing that strikes me, the first couple things that shook me. First of all, I will say Tobin being included. For some reason, I actually never thought she was not going to be included. I never really said it like that, but I was extra thinking last night. Yes, she's coming back from injury, and it's kind of a gamble knowing if she's 100% ready to go. But that's why there's alternates. You know, Tobin's chosen, and if for some reason she can't complete the deal, that's why they choose alternates. So I never thought her not going. I guess there was a little bit of me that thought maybe 5%, 10% that she wasn't going, but based on what Vlatko...
I had my doubts too.
Yeah, but based on what Vlatko had been saying, that her recovery was ahead of Julie's and everything, I really didn't think that there was I always thought there was a spot for her. I always did.
Yeah, it seemed like he was keeping close tabs on her recovery.
Yeah.
So.
And also Julie, I thought it was more likely Julie wasn't going to be included based on injury, but she is so important to the team, possibly the most important player on that team, that I didn't think there was a way, but I thought if she was really not going to be recovered, she wasn't going to make it. But I never thought Tobin wasn't going to make it. And then Julie, there was that question mark. But, so when I saw Tobin, I said, yeah, that makes sense. The other big thing that I was shook is obviously, I'm going to come out now. I'm coming out. I'm a Kristie Mewis superfan. I know people can figure it out, but the first thing Sarah said, because she's the bubble player. She was her spot, and maybe one of the defender spot were the spots who, in maybe a forward spot being Lynn, but Kristie Mewis was the one player who was really up for grabs. Bubble, was she going to make it? Also, it said in another article she is the only player out of all 18 who was not on the World Cup roster. In 2018. Yeah. But I'm a Kristie Mewis super fan. Her story alone, I still can't wrap my head around it. Her trajectory and her soccer journey from being on the team as a youngster, and then getting her injury, not performing up to the standards or however you want to say it, and then coming back, scoring goals, making herself known out there and getting on the Olympic roster. I was so excited for her.
I was so happy when I saw her name.
I know.
She was like the first face that I saw when I tuned in live after my bathroom break.
Yeah.
And I saw her and I was like, I got so excited. I was like, Sarah's going to love this.
I do.
Let me prank her. It's a grandma prank. We do rated G pranks up in here.
When you first said who made, that's the first thing that thought in my mind, because I was like, of course Tobin made it. I would have been shocked if Tobin didn't make it. So for Kristie to actually make it. Also, I know the storyline of, the two Mewis sisters being on the team together. That's a storyline.
I'm milking that for everything it's worth.
But she deserved it. She earned it. So is it a storyline? Right. Yes, but she earned it. The other kind of surprising thing was I really thought Midge was going to be on the roster. So if you watched
I wanted her to be.
If you watched our video about our predictions, it was the one we talked about 2 videos ago, where we actually did our official prediction. Like we said, we borrowed Michael R's prediction of the squad, and he was one person off. So he had Midge instead of Tierna, which a lot of people said maybe Uswnt shouldn't have been the one. It should have been Tierna, Midge, and not Uswnt. But his prediction was 99% correct.
If you recall, I believe I said Tierna.
You said you thought you could see Tierna in there.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I was right.
But you stole Michael R's predictions.
Well, thanks, Michael.
Exactly.
Shout
So,
out.
he was right on. And I guess the other big surprise, which really wasn't a surprise, was Lynn Williams not being on the squad. It was hard because, from all accounts, she had every opportunity realistically to perform and lock up his spots. I truly think that. But like we remember, she scored in the very last game. And even today, there was an NWSL game. She scored 2 goals for the Courage. For her not to be included, it made sense. It didn't shock anyone, but it still is. I'm gutted for her because literally being that close and not, but she was given an opportunity. There's some people on the NWSL or in the league. A lot of people think there's a lot of people who are not given the opportunity. That hopefully in the next cycle will be given an opportunity. But I felt bad for Lynn just because you hate to see someone who, and Midge as well, because Midge is super talented. But also, I was telling Sarah this. The pandemic helped some players and hurt some players. What we've talked about for the last year, Alex Morgan. It was written in the stars for her to be on the Olympics roster. If the Olympics were to be last year, I don't think she would have been back in time for the Olympics. And on the opposite end of that, Kristie Mewis, she was not going to be on the Olympic roster last year. There's no way she was going to be on the Olympic roster because she, that's when she performed during the Challenge Cup and then she was called up. So for those two people in particular, also for Lynn Williams, last summer she probably would have been on the squad based on Alex Morgan probably not being there. So the pandemic worked in favor for some people and then against some people. Just like we talked about Katarina. She's an alternate, and we talked about in the last video about developing players. There really isn't any developing players on the roster, but there is Katarina on the alternate spot because this roster isn't made for I read that somewhere. It's not made for developing players. There's only 18 spots.
No. Yeah, this is for captains of the world, the captains of the ship, exactly, the veterans.
Also, the other thing that I was almost as shocked about than anything was Casey Kruger being alternate because she hadn't been called in the last camp. I know she had injuries and stuff, but
that was kind of that was a little.
I was shocked to see her name because I would have thought it would have gone to one of the players who played in the summer series.
Right. Yeah. You think.
But overall, I mean, like I said, I always thought Tobin was going to be included. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, obviously. But I was thinking about last night when I was taking out the garbage. It was kind of like it was kind of like there's no. Vlatko talks about those known quantities that we talked about in the last article that we read from, but she's a known quantity, and he's going with experience for this roster.
That's something you want and you need when you're going up against the best.
And remember, Team GB, their roster was made up of very experienced players as well.
Yes.
So a lot of these rosters are going with experience over a lot of things. The average age of the player is actually 30 years, 3 months. That is the average age.
Where'd you get the statistic?
On Twitter. Where I get everything.
That's really thin.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go over a couple tweets that I saw for things around the web, but Vlatko has asked some questions about the roster. Obviously, when you come out with the roster, there's always gonna be questions.
I'm taking questions.
Exactly. So I'm on Jeff Kassov's Twitter, and there was
Jeff.
He had some of the questions and answers that Vlatko were kind of asked about, and we'll go through a couple of the things. Just want to kind of go over some things.
Okay, so Vlatko said, we feel like alternate is a good step for Lynn and hope that from there she'll be a regular on the full roster for the 2023 World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone's aiming for right now that, didn't get picked, and that makes sense, but I don't know. And it makes sense. I think for Lynn, it mostly makes sense why, she was given a lot of opportunity, and she's a great player. I've said from the get-go, I really like Lynn. And so this was important too. So talking about Julie and Tobin, Vlatko was asked about Julie and Tobin, and we're going to read what he said.
So he says, Tobin, Heath, and Julie Ertz are progressing, with Heath ahead of Ertz. Expect Heath to get some minutes against Mexico in East Hartford. Ertz likely won't play until closed-door games in Japan ahead of the Olympics.
Which kind of, it's weird. It does not surprise me, but Julie is so important to the team that she is a player that if you're going to take a chance on someone with an injury, you're going to put them on the squad. And then if they can't play, that's why there's alternates. So, but it sounds like Tobin is ready to go. We saw her out there as a training player last time. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I'm going to read what this said. So Vlatko also says,
Andonovsky's choices are the best sign yet that Ertz and Heath are going to be fit for the Olympics. Even with alternates, you can't really take two chances with an 18-player roster.
And that makes it seem like Tobin is definitely on schedule to be 100%. Like you said, with 18 men, you can't take chances with two. Even though there are alternate, you just still can't take chances, you know? And, you know, I know Carli Lloyd gets a lot of flack because some people just aren't Carli fans, and that's okay. It's sports. A lot of people don't like...
Actually, this just in. It's not okay with me.
That's okay. You know, in sports, that's the way it goes. But Sarah, she is a resident super fan of Carli Lloyd.
We are best friends,
but
in my mind, in my dreams.
But her accomplishment cannot go unstated. Read there, Carli Lloyd.
Carli Lloyd is headed to her 4th Olympics, which is no surprise to her or anyone who has been watching her play at 83. Oh my God, she's not that old yet. 38. I don't judge the players by their age, her coach said. They are either good, perform well, and can help us win, or they can't.
Exactly.
Well said.
You know, and the thing about Carli Lloyd, we know she trains her butt off. She takes it so very serious that, you know, her naysayer, like we know. We didn't talk about this clip in particular, but Sarah and I watched a clip. I'm sure a lot of you had seen it, where there was a reporter asking her about something, and Carli says, maybe I'll insert the clip, where she says...
All right, let's go to Jonathan Tannenwald. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm curious.
The one who thinks I won't make the roster, right?
I haven't said that.
Yep. Believe me, I read. I see everything. You got a hometown dude that can never support me, but go ahead.
You know, you, the guy who doesn't think I'm going to make the roster, you who never supports me.
Oh, man, that took me out for days.
I loved it. It sent me. And, you know, what she has accomplished.
Well, this is going to look different because, I mean, this year for her, this Olympics, because her family, this is the first time her family's going to...
That's so special. Be rooting her on. They probably can't go because, you know, they're not going to have a lot of spectators, but...
Right, but they'll actually be able to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
On TV or something. A couple people reached out to us, and they were asking us what our thoughts are about Allie and Ashlyn not making the roster. Which, I mean, they haven't been... They've kind of been on the DL. I mean, they do have their baby, you know.
Right.
But not like that has stopped them or anything.
Right.
I mean, I just wanted to read something that Ashlyn posted to her Instagram today. It's a picture of... Oh, it's a really cute picture of Ashlyn Harris holding baby Sloan and Allie kissing Sloan. And Ashlyn kind of, you know, gives her thoughts and feelings about, you know, not making the roster. So let me just read that real quick. To say I'm not disappointed would be a massive understatement. The last several months have been extremely difficult, but I've met it with hard work, grace, and finding joy off the field. I might not be going to Tokyo, but I promise I won gold on February 12th when my daughter was born. Sloan has brought me and my wife so much joy. It's hard to be sad on days like these. Walking in from training and seeing the smile on her face makes me realize I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I want to wish the team and staff nothing but the best.
Yeah. And it must be hard for, especially, you know, I keep thinking she's been playing so well in the NWSL.
I know.
It's hard. And I don't know, you know, and is there something behind the scenes that, you know, has something to do with kids, or I don't know, but she has been playing so well, so it's hard to not see her even called up for the summer series. Right. And I don't know the answer. Like, I think she's been playing well. A lot of people think she's been playing well. You know, let's go. And I will say, Vlatko also says, kind of in reference to that, that he...
Vlatko says he has 100% authority over roster decisions in response to Sports Parade. It is me with the staff that I have. I listen to their input. I will take full responsibility for every decision I make.
Yeah, so if people think that, someone is dictating it for him, he makes it clear that it's not. I will take away from this, I never expected Tobin not to be there. And obviously, like I said, saying it now is like, well, you could have said that yesterday. But, and the other thing is, I'm so happy. I'm happy for each and every one. Disappointed for, specifically Midge. I'm really disappointed for her. Disappointed for Lynn. I know she has to be absolutely gutted. This reminds me of Crystal Dunn, who did not make the World Cup in 2015, which most people think she should have made it, and it was gutted. She was gutted,
That's
absolutely.
Shocking. She's Crystal motherfucking Dunn.
Exactly. And then, Kristie, Superfan Sarah here, is super excited for Kristie, and I'm excited, to see a new face, but her story is remarkable. Her trajectory, her storyline, and I hate to call this storyline, but the storyline of her journey through soccer and her comeback, it's just remarkable. I love it. And obviously the storyline of her and Sammy, I love it. I know you don't want to compare or contrast them, but just the idea of having your sister right there with you is so freaking special.
So familial, some would say.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What was your exciting moment? Is there anything you would have liked to see differently? Are you pumped? Are you excited for the games? We are excited for the games against Mexico in July, which
we will not be attending.
I know we won't, but
we'll hopefully watch them.
We will. They're like a 20-minute drive from our house.
Well, like 30 minutes.
But we're moving, and it's just it wouldn't have worked out. But we're super excited for that. Questions, comments down below. What did you guys think? Did anyone on the West Coast wake up at 6 a.m.? Because I know some people did 100%. Questions, comments down below. We will talk to you guys later. Have a good night.
Bye.